Today, I'm going to review and lux test the Novsight N70. I think this is one of the most requested, if not the most requested light tests by you, this channel's viewers. We're going to see how well this completely evil looking LED headlight upgrade actually performs. Are you ready to find out if it matches the hype? Well, get ready, because here we go. Hello everyone and welcome to Car Light Reviews, where I perform consistent automotive light tests to help you make the best purchase decision, enjoy your car better, and save you some money. Since I started this channel, I've tested quite a few Novsight LED headlight upgrades. The N30, the N52, the N60, and the N67, they've all typically performed pretty well for the money. And that brings us to this, the N70. As I mentioned, this is probably the most requested test I have had on this channel. So here we are, and I'll test this the same way that I do with all of my LED headlight upgrade videos. We're going to get a good close look at it, check out the build quality, go over the tech specs, and then see how it does in my projector and reflector test and more. So let's jump in. All right, so it comes with an after sales and service card and a warranty registration card. Product manual. Like all the LED headlights that I test, these are plug and play. Simply remove your existing bulbs, replace with these, aim, and you're good to go. If you need to reference your owner's manual, feel free to do so to get more instructions. So you see it comes with an additional harness. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, so now that I got this out of the box, let's talk about my initial observations. First of all, I think you'll agree with me, this thing just looks plain evil, almost like a Decepticon. And no surface was left alone. The design elements run from end to end all across this. It's pretty cool looking. It does have a surface that reminds me of the GTR Ultra 2 with the satin dark gray and the black accents. It looks really sharp if you care about that sort of thing. And if you look closely, you can see the Novsight logo right there, a nice subtle touch. Now, I am surprised that it doesn't have the exposed cooling tubes, which is becoming more frequent of the LED headlights that I test, but you can see one running right along the length through these windows right here and right here. Overall, this feels kind of heavy, all metal and very, very solid. And you might have seen that when I did the unboxing, it also comes with this anti-flicker harness. Now, I've never tested a light that comes pre-packaged with one of these. Usually you have to buy it separately, and not all cars need it, but if you do, it's nice to know that you don't have to purchase it. The fan is exposed. I kind of wish it had a grill on it, so be careful when you install it. Don't use your thumb to press on that when you do. It has very little in terms of heat sink ventilation. I wonder if that's going to hurt the thermal test results. We are going to find out a little bit later. Now, I measured from the trailing edge of the mounting collar tabs to the back of the fan, and it is 37 millimeters, and the fan housing is 35 millimeters in diameter. For the driver, pretty standard driver for Novsight, nothing special. I measured approximately 62 millimeters long by 33 millimeters wide by 19 millimeters thick. So overall, pretty good looking light, well constructed. It's pretty impressive looking. Okay, let's talk about the published specifications of the Novsight N70. The wattage each is, it's a crazy 120 watts each, 25,000 lumens each, and a color temperature of 6500 K. It does have a 7545 CSP chip. If you ever wondered what those numbers mean, in this case, 7545 means that it's 7.5 millimeters long by 4.5 millimeters wide. Has an IP rating of 68 and an hour rating of 100,000, 2 times the normal of what I test on this channel. It does have an adjustable collar if you happen to need it, with friction fitting and stops in it. It does have, as you saw, a fan for heat management and that external driver. The warranty is longer than average, 2 years from Novsight. And the price at the time of this video, before any coupons or discounts per pair, is $169. Now, these are only available direct from Novsight, and if you do decide to get a set, use the link to their website in the description below and use coupon code CARLIGHTREVIEWS and save 20% off your entire order, making these monsters a whole lot more affordable. Now, it is an affiliate link, and it does help me test more LED upgrades like this one, but that doesn't change my test methods, test results, or my opinion of this light one bit. You can also hit the thanks button on any of my videos, throw a few bucks my way. Chances are my videos have helped a lot of you save a lot of money, so feel free to show your appreciation in any way that suits you. I truly appreciate the support. So the published specifications are pretty wild, and it does carry a premium price, but what matters is how this performs in my test environment. And we're going to find out together in a minute, but first a bit of housekeeping. New users to this channel should watch my 1-minute video showing my test method, which I will link to in the description below. It's pretty important that you aim your headlights after every replacement, or at least yearly, so you ensure that your headlight beams are going where they need to go and not in the eyes of oncoming drivers, blinding them. So now that you have a full overview of the Novsight N70, let's test it and see how it truly performs. Here we go with the initial projector output test, which comes out to a staggering 2,930 initial lux. This is the brightest LED light that I have tested for initial light output of all of the lights I've tested so far, and being an amazing 2,205 lux brighter than halogen. That is brighter than some of the initial light output reflector tests I've done. And if you're tracking, this is just 150 lux brighter than the previously tested Novsight N60. But what is more important is how much light output it keeps over time. After the average commute time in the United States, which is 27 minutes, the N70 keeps a lower than average 73% of that initial light output, resulting in 2,139 lux in my test environment, or 1,414 lux over halogen. So it stays ahead of the predecessor N60, but not by much. Either way, I'm going to mention this a few times, I strongly urge you to aim these very carefully if you install them on your vehicle. Now let's take a look at the projector pattern compared to halogen. For such a bright light, this does very well. You can see that the cutoff is very close to the hotspot, which is good. However, it does rise up along the left and right sides much more than halogen, which may be a concern in some headlight housings. So that's something to pay attention to when you aim these. I recall that the Novsight N60 also had a similar projector light output. Let's take a look at the reflector. In my test environment, these are a crazy bright 5,662 lux, or 4,752 above the halogen lux output. Once again, the brightest for initial output in my test environment now for both projector and reflector. And after 27 minutes keeping that 73% of that light output, the result in my reflector is 4,133 lux, or 3,223 over halogen. This is just a bit brighter than the Novsight N60 still, but not by much according to my testing. But above all, these are total powerhouses. Now let's take a look at the reflector light output pattern compared to halogen. I have to admit I'm rather surprised at how well this does. Again, has a nice low cutoff line and overall decent reflector control, which is not always easy. There's nothing very concerning here, and I would consider this reflector output quite impressive in terms of accuracy for how powerful this light is. But considering how powerful they are, I've said it before and I will say it again, still use these with caution. If you cannot aim these without scattering the light, you're going to need to use a different light because they are just not compatible with your light housing. It happens, and we can apply this to any light I've tested. There's plenty of other choices out there if you run into problems. Just see the rest of the videos on my channel. As mentioned earlier, there is a published rating of 120 watts per light. And something I'd like to mention, I currently measure watts by multiplying 13.8 volts times the amp output on the digital display of my power supply after 27 minutes of runtime and not initial startup. I think that's more important to you, the end user, to use that measurement. Just like how bright the lights are after 27 minutes. Now, I noticed that while the N70 was around 120 watts initially, over time it did reduce to 69.5 5 watts. So I'm assuming that Novsight specs are for initial startup and not over time, just something that you should be aware of. And for heat management, after 27 minutes of runtime, my thermal camera recorded 244 degrees Fahrenheit or 118 degrees Celsius for the main unit, which is reasonably cool for the high light output. And for the driver, I measured 121 degrees Fahrenheit or 49 degrees Celsius, which is much cooler than average. So this does have surprisingly decent heat management. And if you want to see how the N70 compares to all the other lights I've tested, all you have to do is check out my headlight data spreadsheet. I update it with all of my test data after every video, and it's free for you to use to help you narrow down the light upgrade that meets your needs and budget. It's in the description. So what do you guys think? Is the Novsight N70 what you'd expected? It is definitely powerful. And while not by much, it is indeed the brightest I've tested so far. And again, it must be aimed carefully. Now, I was hoping to see it break the 3000 lux mark in my Projector initial light output test. It came close, but not quite. Maybe we're going to see that happen in the future. LED upgrades like these are getting better all the time. Above all that, it sure does look great in my opinion, and it is very well constructed. The included anti-flicker harness does help to justify the higher than average cost, although keep in mind that's not a CAN bus controller. It just helps to make sure that you're getting enough power from the vehicle to the light. Speaking of cost, you might ask if the N70 is worth the money, and I say that depends. If you want the brightest that I've tested and need that anti-flicker harness and your budget can handle it, most definitely I'd say give it a try as long as you can aim it accurately. If you're on a slightly lower budget and you don't need the anti-flicker harness, then I would consider the Novsight N60, the Luxtor Punisher, or a favorite among this channel's viewers, the Diamond Vision F9. All I ask is that once again, you use the links in the descriptions of my videos if you place an order. And if ordering direct from Novsight, once again, use my links and don't forget to use coupon code CarLightReviews, save yourself 20% off your order. So as always, thanks for the suggestions and support of CarLight Reviews, and thanks for watching this video. I hope this video helped you to choose the right lighting upgrades for your needs so you can enjoy your car more and save you money. And a lot of you know what comes next. Be sure to keep your headlights aimed correctly and drive safely, responsibly, and respectfully.